Okay, Kim, we're ready.
Hi, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are, whatever part of the country you're in. Thanks for tuning in to Red Door Conversations, Real Talk and Realty. I am Marla Lewis, and I want to introduce you to my co-host. First, we have up Kimberly Dixon Dudley. Hey, Kim.
Hey,
How you
Marla.
doing? Doing all right?
Doing great. Doing great.
Good. Next, we have Lisa Brown White. Lisa, what's going on?
Hey, how you guys doing?
Everybody's good. I know I'm good over here. And then we have Tana Young. Hey,
Hey,
Tana, what's going on?
girl, just ready to get the weekend going.
Oh, wow. Oh, cool. All right. So, hey, this is another episode, and we've got some good stuff, and we've got some hot and juicy stuff as well. So let's go ahead and dive right in, I guess, huh, Tana?
Oh yeah, let's get into it. We are ready.
So what do we have going on today?
Well, we have a hot topic, and we're going to be talking about the census because from what I'm understanding, there's still a lot of people that are not completing the census, and we really need, for those of you who have not completed the census, you can go online and do it, and they made it even easier. Now you can choose to go online. You can choose to do it by phone, or you can go ahead and mail in the invitation card that you receive in the mail. So to get into what the census is, for those of you who don't know, it provides critical data for lawmakers, business owners, teachers, and many others used to provide daily services, products, and support for your community. So think about the roads, that we have that need to be repaired, or highways, like all of that is, counted toward the funds that we need to have for those roads and whatnot. And so every year, billions of dollars in federal funding go to hospitals, fire departments, schools, roads, and other resources based on the census data. So guys, I mean, all I can tell you is that we really need you to go ahead and fill out the census. Again, you can go online to 2020census.com and, go ahead and get that information. And it only takes just a couple of minutes. And what the census is asking you is how many people are in your household? What are the family members' first and last names? And of course, what is your race? And so it literally takes just a couple of minutes to do. So just go ahead and fill it out. Fill out that information.
I got a quick question about that because I've talked to a couple of people who are actually working for the census.
Okay.
And several folks have said you don't even really have to give your real name. You don't have to give your nationality. Although that information is very helpful for, tracking purposes and making sure there's accurate and correct information funding going towards certain groups. You don't have to give that information. It's just a count of residents. Like if you live in a household, say I'm in my household and there's only 4 people here, I can say my name is Mickey Mouse and there's 4 people living here. Is that true?
That is true. We mainly want the amount of the census mainly wants the amount of people that reside in the home as of April 1st, 2020. So if you can at least give, when those enumerators are out there knocking on your doors, at least give them the amount of people that reside in the home. And one thing I did not mention was that the results of the census, it also determines the number of seats each state will have in the U.S. House of Representatives. And we all know that is crucial, especially right now, guys. So again, please, I urge you to go ahead and just take the time out. When those enumerators are knocking on your door, just go ahead and answer the questions or just fill out the information online. It's real simple.
Okay, I have a comment. I want to let people know that if you live in an area and you're not happy with the schools, you're not happy that there are no grocery stores, you're not happy that you don't have access to the things that you know truly want, and you're having to drive at least 15-20 minutes to get to something like that, this is where you need to voice that and just fill it out. I mean, this is how you get access to those funds. If you complain
and how you have
about
those resources.
correct. If you
Mm-hmm.
complain about this area has this and this, but they're not doing this in my area, this is why.
Exactly. This is the
And
time to go ahead and
it
fill
only
out the
comes
census.
around. Yeah, it only
10
comes around
years.
every 10 years.
Once
Yeah.
every 10 years. That's right.
Yeah.
And so nobody, the information that you give to those enumerators is safe and secure. This is what we can't emphasize enough. It's safe and secure. It's not going anywhere. Nobody is going to come after you and disturb your home or mix up what you have going on in your home. That's not their focus. Their focus is to get you your resources and other things that the area needs.
That your community needs. And Lisa, thanks for pointing that out, because so many times people are having to drive a few miles to go to their favorite grocery store, or to, just go to any store for that matter. And you can make it a lot easier and have those same stores in your community if you complete the census.
And let me just be clear. I'm in a suburb. You guys know I'm in Pearland. I can't even enjoy my store because you have people driving from 15-20 minutes away, and they will give you one if you fill out the census.
Exactly. And Kimberly, didn't they just build an HEB in your area? And what is the reason why? How did they get to that point?
That's a great point.
That money, I'm pretty sure that project was millions of dollars.
Well, to this point, it was years in the making. It didn't just happen overnight. HEB has been looking at this area, looking at potential projected growth for the third ward community. And that's where businesses they choose to spend their resources, where they project that there's going to be growth opportunities. So this is your 10-year opportunity to voice your concerns and get the resources that you need for your community. Your 10-year opportunity. It won't come around again. So that's such a good point that Marla made earlier. And I'm glad that we're talking about the census, because as in preparation of the show, you guys, I was researching. Our show, of course, is Protecting Your Business. Researching, what's going on with small businesses. We are all realtors. We all work from home. Our guest on the show, Ms. Tarsha Jackson, I'll let Marla introduce her. But we have questions for her in terms of protecting our business. And the U.S. Census has so much information about small businesses. I was reading there's 38 million, as of late, 38 million home-based businesses. And I can imagine how many are going to be created as a result of, downsizing, uncertainty and unemployment and massive layoffs. So it's important to understand how small businesses should protect our businesses going forward. Like what's important. So I'll let Marla introduce, and then I have a real quick question for Ms. Tarsha Jackson. Actually, good.
Well, hang on, Kim. Just hold on. Hold your horses.
We are excited. We have questions.
I'm ready to get in.
I have them answered.
Yes. Well, guys, I talked to you guys about this a little while ago, but in protecting my business and thinking about, what it is that I need to take a step back, because as business owners, we're always very busy. We're always doing the business, running the business, working on the business. But a lot of times we really need to take a step back, and we need to think about some of the most important things for the business, like insurance. And definitely a girl who says, oh man, insurance, I don't want to have to look at that. Oh man, it's dreaded, it's dreaded for me. But with the guest that we have on the show today, Miss Tarsha Jackson of the Pinnacle Insurance Group, who is so knowledgeable, so well informed, and she wants to make sure that we're well informed. I had a sit down with her, and just, I had to have her on the show. I had to, because there's so many things that as business owners, we don't think about, and it just makes a huge difference to get a partner, somebody that will take a good look at your business, sit down with you, and help you put a plan together. So with no further ado, Ms. Tarsha Jackson, thank you so much for coming on our show.
Good afternoon, and thank you so much for allowing me to be a part of the RDC ladies. It is my privilege and pleasure, and I'm ready to dive in on today. So thank you so much for allowing me to join in with this awesome group of phenomenal, talented boss ladies.
All right. Well, cool. So we're going to get right into it because our viewers, they're ready to go. We got business owners of all kinds of businesses. We may, because we're real estate brokers, we may try to ask some questions that have, some things to do with real estate, but also as it relates to all businesses. Mm-hmm. So let's go. Who's got a question for Tarsha?
I do.
Okay.
Let's go.
I'm over here. Wait. So again, home-based businesses, what I was talking about earlier is realtors. Sometimes we're partially at home. Sometimes we're in the office. A lot of people will be at home more now due to COVID-19. One of the questions that really kept playing in my mind when I thought about Tarsha being on the show was, we have a homeowner's insurance and we operate a home-based business from our home, but how is that connected to people who are transitioning to being 100% home-based or people who've already been home-based? What kind of insurance do they need to have for that business? And, what coverages might their homeowner's insurance cover?
That's a great question, Kim. And you are correct. During this COVID-19 season, a lot of us are working remote and working from home, as well as starting home-based businesses. Great question with the homeowners. The homeowners insurance will provide limited coverage for your liability as well as your property. So to ask the question or to answer the question about maybe when should I look into purchasing additional insurance, the question would be twofold. One is, have you purchased additional property or contents that's allocated and designed specifically for your business, such as printers, such as laptops, computers? Have you increased your things that you need in your home? The other thing would be are clients coming to your home? What is the exposure? So if you now have, and I have various clients who are doing taxes, daycares, other businesses where the exposure is beyond what a homeowner's would actually provide coverage for. You do have personal liability coverage on your homeowners, but that is for someone that's visiting your home or that some family friends who are coming to visit. But the moment a person state that I was coming there for business, it then takes it beyond just a homeowner's, and you would need to look into commercial insurance or insurance for your business. So again, the two main things is, have you purchased additional equipment that is designated for your business? And secondly, do you now have increased exposure with clients coming to your home office?
All right.
Well, that's some good
That's
stuff,
good
Tarsha.
information.
Yes, I have my pen and I'm taking notes. So if y'all see me looking down, I'm writing.
Same here.
I'm next with my question. So we're all realtors, and we're real estate agents, and we're real estate brokers as well. What would you say are the must-have coverages for us?
The must-haves for real estate agents and brokers, one would be errors and omissions. We commonly know it as E&O, and professional liability, because that covers the what you do. Secondly is, and a lot of us, for safety reasons, we're no longer having clients in our vehicles and transporting clients. But if you do, if you've had, some longtime clients and things like that, that personally, and you do allow them to ride with you or transport them, then you want to have a business operation policy, a business owner's policy. It's known as a BOP. So what a BOP will do, business owner's policy, it combines commercial, general liability, and your business property or your business contents. It combines those two together. So it gives you a broader coverage at a more competitive rate, whereas if you buy them individually. Also, if you're going to be having agents who are also, when they're on the clock, going to show properties and things like that, then you may want to also look at a commercial auto as well. And you can do commercial auto a couple of ways. It can extend to your agents and as they're going to meet clients, as well as it would also cover you. If you have your vehicle that you use both personally for your person as well as your business, then a commercial policy holder would want to know what percentage of use are you using it for your business, and what percentage are you using it for your personal use. So just kind of have that information in mind. So just to recap, you would want to make sure you have your errors and omissions, which also is known as like personal liability. That covers the what you do. If you make an error on some paperwork, or you say you submitted some documents for closing and you didn't, a client may say you caused me to lose out on business, so that covers the what you do. The secondly is you want the general liability. If you have them coming in your office, it also provides coverage for off premises. So if someone, gets hurt while you're out on a property and they find that the person selling the property was negligent, the key is you would have to be found negligent, but you want to make sure that your business is covered. Then the last thing for you and for your agents, you want to make sure that you have the auto covered as well. The additional thing is, if you have employees, if you have other agents, then another coverage would be the workers' comp. With workers' comp in the state of Texas, you are not required to have it, but if you have employees, it's good to have the workers' comp, because if they're injured on the job, it would cover if they're injured on the job or if they're ill on the job. So workers' comp would be additional, but I would certainly start with the E&O, professional liability, and then as you extend and grow, the BOP and the commercial.
Okay, that was some good information. Thank you, Sasha. Now,
You're-
at what stage in your business should you consider getting insurance? Do you need to stop making a certain dollar amount? Should you get it right away?
That's a great question as well. One of the things you want to look at, what is insurance? What is insurance? Insurance is an agreement. It's a contract between the insured and the insurance company. So you ask, when should I get it? At the place that if you were to lose that source of income, would it put you in a financial strain? If that business, if you had any loss, if you had any claim, would that one loss, or would that injury, would that actually cause a problem for you financially, or would it cause financial hardship? So when you get insurance, it is protection against any injury or any loss that would cause you to have financial hardship.
Okay.
So when you need it is when if this source of income was no longer available due to an injury, an illness, or a claim, then when you think of that, that should actually determine when you would need insurance.
Okay.
And
Did that answer that question for you, Ms. Tana?
Yes, it did. Thank you so much.
okay, Ms. Tasha, just to kind of get a little bit more detailed on the E&O policy, why is first dollar defense important for your E&O policies?
The first dollar defense is important because one is they want to make sure that you have, hold on, let me pull that up. Keep talking on the first dollar defense. It is the E&O is there for your protection.
Mhm.
It protects you against claims of someone stating that you were negligent or that you were in default on something that you were supposed to do. So with that defense being in place, it is just the dollar amount that you are responsible for. It's if you will, it's like a deductible, if you will, like you have on your auto insurance or any other types of insurance. You're responsible for those first dollars. It's just that you don't really see it. They normally just take it out for you, but that first dollar is just to make sure that you don't have frivolous claims that you're submitting.
Got it.
So I have a question as well. Going back to, you touched on workers' comp, and you said in the state of Texas, it is optional. My question is, there's so many businesses now where the employees may not be W-2 and they're 1099, which makes them a contract employee, if you will. My question is, could you carry workers' comp for those that are 1099, and is it, do you think that it's necessary to do so?
Do you need to have it if they are 1099s? They're still an employee of yours because you, at the end of the year, you still have to list them with that 1099. The only difference is they're required to pay their own taxes, but you're still required for them, or they're still a quote unquote employee of yours. And an employee is anytime, of course, they fill out an application, you hire them, and they're doing business under your company name. That means that they are an employee, a representative of your company, your agency, or your broker. So if they are representing you, how they get paid, whether it be a W-2 or a 1099, is tax purposes for them. So when you began to speak of workers' comp, it would pay if they're injured on the job. It would pay if they are ill. So when you ask, do I need it? The point then would be, what's their exposure to injury? What's their exposure to risk? And how may that come back on you? I was reminded of one of my clients. She was actually a daycare. She owned a daycare, actually several of them. And we had this conversation about, did she need workers' comp? Did she need workers' comp? And I told her what workers' comp was, what the coverage provided. And we talked about it. And one of the things that we don't talk about is, what if you're injured, ill, or what if a death occurs from that injury or that illness? The short of the story is, she purchased it because she had grown up to like 30 employees or more. So she needed it just for her own safety and her mindset. But she actually had an employee to pass away. And so she felt obligated to give something to the family and pay for the expenses because she was an employee. So she was kind, it was, but I told her that there was monies that were available if the injury was related to something job related. So it is just an additional coverage, but it will come in handy for you. God forbid anyone should have loss of life while they are working for you.
Okay.
So now let me ask you another question. As far as business owners, like I said when we started this conversation, business owners, most of us are very busy, moving, working. My question to you is, as you partner with your insurance agent, what all should a business owner disclose to that agent so that you can ensure that the business has maximum protection?
I believe that any client, when they're coming to their insurance agent, they should disclose all lines of business of what they're doing. A lot of insurance is tailored to whatever services you provide. So in order to get coverage that is the maximum coverage for you, is to share with your insurance agent what all services or goods or services you're going to be providing to your client. And a lot of insurance agents, they ask a lot of questions because there are some things that insurance agents will get out of a conversation with asking, what do you do, that may not be disclosed on an application. So the more we know about your operation, the better coverage we can get tailored to what you do.
Okay.
So I believe you
Now,
should share everything that you're doing.
I know you said that it's tailored to what you're doing, but what is the minimum amount that a business owner can expect to pay for insurance?
It depends on the risk itself. A real estate agent and a real estate brokerage is in the insurance world a low risk. It's a lower risk than if you have a restaurant, a bar, or tap. So the insurance is based upon the risk. What is the risk? The higher the risk, the cost and the premiums are based upon the risk itself.
Okay, so because we're considered lower risk, what is the dollar amount that agents and brokers can expect to pay?
You can look at for in the state of Texas, if you have like a business operation, business owner's property, or a BOP is what we call it, you can look for that to be somewhere in the range of maybe $800 to $1,000 annually per year. But it also depends on the number of agents that you have. It also depends on what your gross sales are annually. So there are a couple of factors that one agent may have 2 or 3 brokers, and they may have an annual of like 300,000, whereas someone else may have 3 to 5 brokers, but their annual gross sales may be north of $1 million. So there are a couple of rating factors that would come into play when you're speaking of what's the minimum amount. But there are some like commercial general liability, the minimum premium may be $500. So it just kind of depends on your business, your staff, your gross annual sales.
So Tasha, let me ask you this question. So for the business owners that are looking at our show right now or listening to our show, what is your process? We want them to be able to get in contact with you. And we want, so the first step, if they called you and said that they were looking to have some business insurance, what would be your process?
My process would then be to get an application on them, find out what type of business, either are they, do they have, are they starting, how many employees, what's their gross. So I'll start the process with finding out what type of business, how long have they been in business? Is this a new venture for them? So I would get that information for them, get their employee history. If it's a new venture, because we do have a lot of people that have new ventures, new business ideas, and that's wonderful. You can do that. We just want to know what's your history in that field. So really just to get an application from them, find out what's their business, and then begin to search the various carriers that I have so that we can find the maximum coverage at the best premium that will be suited for them.
Got it.
Yes, and if they wanted to contact us, may I give my contact information?
Yes, please.
Yes,
If
please.
they wanted to contact the Pinnacle Insurance Group, you can call us at 832-242-9094. Again, our contact number at the Pinnacle Insurance Group is 832-242-9094. 9094. We offer all lines of coverage from your homes, your autos, your businesses, your churches, your ministry. And we've also, over the last 5 years, added a new product, which is pre-needs, that's prearranged funeral plans. So we've added a full line insurance agency that can assist you, as I like to say, from your birth to your burial, we can cover you.
All right.
That was
That's
good.
a great
That's a
tagline.
great tagline.
Yes,
forget
girl.
that.
Yes,
I like that.
yes.
We'll not forget that. My page is so full. Look at this.
Exactly. Yes.
Tarsha,
No, wait.
go ahead.
Go ahead, Kim. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to recap because I'm making notes and I want to be clear that we've covered, what we've covered and maybe make sure we didn't miss anything. So we've talked about E&O insurance. We have talked about professional liability insurance. We've talked about commercial auto insurance. We've talked about a BOP, which is a business owner's policy. And I believe that's it. Is there anything that we are missing or that we haven't asked in terms of what type of coverage business owners may overlook outside of what we've already discussed?
The other coverage that we did mention, it's not a requirement in the state of Texas, but it's good to have, and that's workers' comp.
Workers' comp.
Tasha,
Okay.
what is your website?
Our website is www.tpigonline.com. www.tpigonline.com. You can follow us on Facebook at the Pinnacle Insurance Group. That's our Facebook page. And of course, you can contact us at 832-242-9094.
Now I have one last question. In regards to, let's go back. I want to ask a question. I guess it would revolve around commercial auto for brokers, real estate brokers like myself. If you have a policy, an office policy and procedure that says that the agent should not put clients in the vehicle, why is that enough, or why would that not be enough to satisfy not having commercial insurance?
If you have either an agent or a client that says that they were en route to look at a property or anything business related, the thing is, if they say it's business related, I was going to look at a property, anything, the exposure changes. It's
What
different.
you're saying
Wow.
is they don't necessarily have to be in the car with the agent. However, they just have to mention that they were en route to view property with one of Marla's agents.
That is correct. That is correct. You want to make sure that you are covered. We have some savvy people in the world who do their homework, and you want to make sure that you as a business owner are covered. That I can't stress that enough. You want to make sure, because at that point it's your word versus theirs. And then they would want to know if they were going to en route to meet someone to look at a property, and do you have commercial insurance? Because they've been meeting an agent.
Oh, wow. I would never have thought that you need to have commercial insurance if you're not putting a client in your vehicle.
Let me just say this, Tasha, before Kim closes the show. You have changed my whole entire life in 35 minutes.
Wow.
Same.
Wow.
Completely.
Well, it is my job to provide the information for you, because you don't want to be exposed to risk. And you want to make sure that just for a few extra dollars, because it's not that much difference from going to a commercial property that you may use your personal vehicle for. Just get a commercial property and say, I use 50% personal, 50% business, or 60-40, however you use your vehicle, but you would have that added protection where if someone comes and say, I was on my way, I was en route to you are protected. Because if you have on your personal auto, if they mention anything about business, then they would say we don't cover the business aspect of it on a personal auto.
So then, Tarsha, that exposes you as an individual. Is
Yeah.
that correct?
That's correct.
Mm.
That is correct. So you want to protect yourself and make sure that you have the proper coverage. And from a premium, it's really not that much difference. And one of the other things with commercial, with most personal autos, your coverage renews every 6 months. When you have commercial, it's annually.
Okay.
So every 12.
Well, listen, you have changed for business owners' minds and perspectives, and we all have notes. Thank you so much, Tarsha Jackson and Pinnacle Insurance. Thanks to all of our viewers who tuned in, and I hope they take some information, I know they will, from this show, and it betters their business because of it. But if you are on every Friday, you'll see information just like this on the Red Door Conversation podcast. So check us out on Facebook, Instagram, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you podcast. But until then, we'll see you next Friday, 12:30. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Have a great day.